From teen star to Hollywood headliner, Meagan Good has built a career defined by beauty, talent, and unapologetic confidence. But what does life look like now for this multi-talented actress and director in 2025? In this video, we take you inside Meagan Good's stunning lifestyle, from her chic designer homes and fierce fashion sense to her luxury car collection and jet-set adventures. We'll also dive into her career evolution, bold personal reinventions, and her rising net worth in 2025. This isn't just a story about fame. It's about glow-ups, growth, and a woman redefining success on her own terms. Long before the red carpets, slow-motion movie entrances, and global fan base, Meagan Good was a California girl with big eyes, bigger dreams, and a camera-ready smile that could melt a room. She was born August 8, 1981 in Panorama City, a working-class neighborhood nestled in the San Fernando Valley, just outside Los Angeles. The youngest of 4 siblings, Meagan grew up in a tight-knit household led by her mother, Tyra Wardlow Doyle, who worked in talent management, and her father, Leon Good, a police officer for the LAPD. It was a home built on discipline, faith, and community, equal parts Sunday sermons and Saturday movie nights. Family dinners were sacred, and so was telling the truth, even when it wasn't easy. From an early age, Meagan showed a spark. Not just pretty or playful, she had presence. She would mimic TV characters, memorize lines from commercials, and deliver them like she was born for the screen. By the age of 4, she was already appearing in national commercials, and by 10, she had landed guest spots on shows like Doogie Howser, MD, and But Meagan's early rise was never handed to her. She didn't come from privilege. She came from perseverance. Her mother became her manager and protector in the entertainment industry, carefully shaping a career that emphasized longevity over flash. They made decisions together, choosing roles, skipping auditions that didn't align with their values, and steering clear of industry traps that could swallow a young black girl whole. Meagan was homeschooled for much of her upbringing, which allowed her to focus on acting while staying grounded in family and faith. Her days alternated between rehearsing lines and Bible study, with equal reverence. While other kids were riding bikes after school, Meagan was on sets, under hot lights, holding her own in a world that rarely made space for girls who looked like her. She credits her upbringing, and especially her mother, for instilling the confidence, humility, and emotional maturity that would carry her through Hollywood's highs and heartbreaks. Her early life wasn't perfect, but it was filled with love, discipline, and a belief in her voice long before the world recognized it. By the time she turned 13, she landed a role in the critically acclaimed film Eve's Bayou. And while that role would mark her official breakout, it was the culmination of a journey that began far earlier. A little girl from Panorama City, with a dream, a praying mama, and a spark that just wouldn't quit. While most child stars were learning scripts between bells at school, Meagan Good was learning life, on set, on her knees in prayer, and in the constant pursuit of balance between calling and childhood. Because of her demanding schedule in Hollywood from a young age, Meagan was homeschooled, a decision made by her mother to ensure that education wouldn't take a back seat to ambition. But it wasn't just academic lessons that shaped her. It was the spiritual and cultural ones being taught at home. Raised in a devout Christian household, Meagan's identity was shaped by faith as much as film. Before every audition, every shoot, every big step, there was prayer. Her earliest role models weren't just actresses, they were activists, artists, and icons. She looked up to Janet Jackson, not just for her control on stage, but for her grace in the public eye. She admired Angela Bassett for her power and poise, and Halle Berry for breaking barriers for women who looked like her. These weren't just celebrities to Meagan, they were blueprints. Still, some of her most powerful influences were closer to home. Her mother, Tyra, who juggled parenting and managing Meagan's career, was her first teacher in self-respect. She taught her not only how to say lines, but how to say no to roles that didn't honor her value, to situations that didn't serve her spirit. In interviews, Meagan often reflects on her early years as a time of dual identity, navigating Hollywood while also trying to stay rooted in faith, family, and culture. She recalls being the only black girl on some sets, having to work twice as hard for half the credit. but it built in her a kind of strength that couldn't be taught in a classroom. Though she didn't follow the traditional path through public schools or college campuses, Meagan's education was deeply experiential. She learned how to handle rejection, embrace individuality, and carry herself with purpose, even in rooms that didn't always want her to shine. By the time she entered her late teens, Meagan wasn't just an actress. She was a young woman in full bloom, wise beyond her years, and quietly preparing for a long reign in the spotlight. Meagan Good didn't sneak into the industry. She arrived early and made herself known. But her first true breakthrough came when she was just 16 years old, with a role that still echoes in black cinema history, Eve's Bayou. Released in 1997, the film was a poetic, haunting Southern drama starring Samuel L. Jackson and Lynn Whitfield. Meagan played Cicely Batiste, the protective older sister harboring secrets of her own. It wasn't just a performance, it was a revelation. The film became a critical darling, and Meagan's layered portrayal drew attention from critics who were stunned by her emotional maturity. With Eve's Bayou, Meagan proved she wasn't just another child actress. She was a serious talent. Hollywood started paying closer attention, but the real cultural breakthrough came a couple years later, in a very different tone. Nickelodeon's Cousin Skeeter. From 1998 to 2001, Meagan starred as Nina Jones, the quick-witted, smart best friend to the puppet-led Skeeter and his cousin Bobby. It was a hit with Black Gen Z audiences, and for many, it was their first introduction to the cool girl with the curly hair and magnetic presence. While Eve's Bayou had shown her dramatic chops, Cousin Skeeter made her a teen star. Suddenly, she was appearing on magazine covers, attending award shows, and being cast in a wave of youth-targeted films and shows. Hollywood was watching, and so were the girls in the audience who finally saw a beautiful, brown-skinned girl centered on screen, not cast to the side. In the early 2000s, she booked supporting roles in films like Three Strikes and House Party 4, but it was clear, Meagan Good was building something. She wasn't rushing towards stardom. She was choosing longevity. That strategy, slow burn over fast fame, would become a defining trait of her career. Meagan had the look, the voice, and the presence. But she also had the self-awareness to play the long game. In an industry known for burning out young women of color, she was quietly crafting an empire, one role at a time. The world hadn't seen her peak yet, but with her early breakthroughs, Meagan Good had officially entered the chat, and she wasn't going anywhere. By the early 2000s, Meagan Good had planted seeds. But in the years that followed, those seeds bloomed, and what emerged was not just an actress, but a full-blown cultural icon. Her breakout into mainstream stardom came with a string of roles that defined an era of Black Hollywood. In 2003, she lit up the screen in Biker Boys, playing opposite Derek Luke and Lawrence Fishburne, bringing edge, sex appeal, and emotional depth to a film about speed, legacy, and identity. Then came 2007's Stomp the Yard, a box office smash that positioned Meagan at the center of a generation's love story. Audiences fell in love with her, not just for her beauty, but for her poise. She was magnetic, equal parts softness and strength, and her on-screen chemistry was undeniable. But it was her role as Maya in Think Like a Man, 2012, that cemented her place as a household name. Playing the 90-day rule girl next door, Meagan brought warmth, wit, and relatability to a romantic comedy that became a blockbuster hit and cultural moment. She returned for the sequel, and by then, she wasn't just in the conversation, she was the conversation. What set Meagan apart was that her fame wasn't noisy. It was consistent. She wasn't everywhere for shock value. She was everywhere because people kept asking for her. From music videos with 50 Cent to dramas like Waist Deep, she balanced mainstream appeal with streetwise credibility. And through it all, she carried herself with humility and class. She also became a beauty icon in the 2010s. With her signature honey brown skin, arched brows, and ever-changing hairstyles, from pixie cuts to goddess braids, Meagan became the blueprint for effortless glam in Black beauty culture. Young women emulated her look. Stylists referenced her for red carpet inspiration. Brands took notice. As her fame rose, so did her reputation as a woman of faith. In 2011, she began dating author and preacher Devon Franklin, whom she later married. Their union brought a new light to her public image. Meagan wasn't just a Hollywood it girl anymore. She was a woman walking in purpose. By the mid-2000s teens, Meagan Good had evolved from teen star to womanhood icon. She'd made it through the gauntlet of child stardom, typecasting, and industry politics. Not by being perfect, but by being steadfast, stylish, and unapologetically herself. Her rise wasn't about one role, it was about a body of work, a career built with care, a presence that kept us watching. And in 2025, we still are. By 2025, Meagan Good has carved out a career that goes far beyond red carpet glitz or a single hit role. Her journey is one of quiet endurance and deliberate excellence, the kind of success that may not always scream, but always stands. Over the span of 3 decades, she's evolved from child actor to one of the most consistently working Black women in Hollywood. Her filmography reads like a time capsule of Black pop culture. Eve's Bayou, You Got Served, Stomp the Yard, The Unborn, Jumping the Broom, Anchorman 2, and Think Like a Man. She's been in horror, comedy, romance, drama, a genre chameleon with unmistakable presence. But Meagan isn't just a veteran in front of the camera. She's made her mark behind it too. In 2021, she made her directorial debut with the short film If Not Now, When, co-directed with Tamara Bass. It told a story of sisterhood, addiction, and healing through the lens of Black womanhood. The film earned her respect from industry peers as a storyteller, with a sensitive and authentic voice. In the years since, she's directed music videos and is now preparing her first full-length feature as solo director, set for release in 2026. She's also used her platform to champion representation. Meagan has long advocated for darker-skinned Black women in Hollywood to receive equal opportunity, not just in roles, but in beauty campaigns, fashion, and awards recognition. Her visibility has helped shift the industry toward broader definitions of beauty and talent. Her role in Amazon Prime's hit series Harlem, which debuted in 2021, reignited her television career and introduced her to a new generation of fans. As the chic, emotionally evolving Camille Parks, Meagan reminded audiences she could still lead a series with grace and edge. The show's critical success added another highlight to her growing list of accolades. Though she hasn't racked up the traditional awards hardware, no Emmys or Oscars yet, her impact is deeper. Cultural recognition, longevity, influence. Those are the things Meagan has in spades. In 2025, she stands as one of the few actresses who has transitioned from child star to leading lady to filmmaker, without losing her identity along the way. And her next act? Still unfolding. Meagan Good's brilliance doesn't end with the cut on set. In 2025, her growing empire is powered by a string of purpose-driven projects and creative ventures that show she's not just a performer, she's a visionary businesswoman and cultural curator. First and foremost, Meagan is quietly building her name in the beauty and wellness space. In 2023, she launched Good Girl Beauty, a skincare and lifestyle brand made for melanin-rich skin, inspired by her own journey with hyperpigmentation, hormone shifts, and natural radiance. The line, clean, vegan, and backed by dermatologists, includes serums, oils, and a best-selling Glow Prayer Mist, blending skincare with affirmations. Her goal? To create products that speak to inner beauty as much as outer care. She's also a published author, co-writing the book The Wait, alongside ex-husband Devon Franklin. Though their romantic journey ended, the message, centered around intentional living, spiritual alignment, and relationship clarity, still resonates. Meagan has since teased a solo follow-up memoir, focused on healing after heartbreak and redefining womanhood, expected to publish in 2026. In between film and television projects, she's become a go-to speaker at women's empowerment panels, faith-based forums, and HBCU campuses. Her topics? Navigating identity, thriving in purpose, and choosing softness in a world that demands hardness from Black women. Her tone is intimate, her message clear. You are allowed to protect your peace and still chase greatness. Meagan is also nurturing the next generation of talent through her nonprofit initiative, Actress in Action, which supports young women of color in film and media. From scholarships to internships on her sets, she's laying a foundation for a more inclusive and reflective entertainment future. And quietly, she's also an investor, backing wellness startups, indie films, and Black-owned fashion brands that align with her values. In 2025, Meagan Good isn't just creating content, she's creating space for beauty, for balance, for Black women to thrive on their own terms. In 2025, Meagan Good's lifestyle is a masterclass in soulful luxury, where modern elegance meets spiritual grounding. Her life is not defined by excess, but by intentional beauty, peaceful energy, and curated freedom. Her primary residence is tucked into the hills of Studio City, Los Angeles, a 5-bedroom contemporary oasis nestled on a quiet cul-de-sac with panoramic views of the valley. It's not the loudest house in the Hollywood Hills, but it's among the most authentically her. From the outside, the home is wrapped in natural wood and soft earth tones, blending effortlessly into the surrounding trees. Inside, the aesthetic is a blend of boho chic and minimalist glam. Think clean lines, muted gold finishes, linen textures, and warm lighting. Her personal touch is everywhere. Candles in every room, crystals on windowsills, floor pillows, and a rotating wall of Black art and photography. Her favorite room? The Goddess Room. It's a sacred space adorned with soft lighting, plants, floor-length mirrors, and a small altar for prayer and meditation. This is where Meagan journals, does breath work, reads scripture, or plays soft soul records when she needs to reset. The kitchen is chef-level sleek, with white marble countertops, hanging copper pans, and a tea station that she affectionately calls her healing bar. She's often found here on Sundays, making vegan French toast or turmeric lattes for her circle of close friends and family. She also has a dedicated content studio and dressing suite, where she films beauty tutorials, preps for speaking engagements, and hosts her Good Talks, a short-form video series of reflective thoughts and encouragements she shares with her followers. Outside, the backyard feels like a private retreat. A saltwater infinity pool overlooks the hillside, with a cabana-style lounge area, string lights, and a cozy fire pit. A shaded yoga deck sits under eucalyptus trees where she hosts women's circles and sunrise flow sessions. She calls her home a house of peace, and it shows. It's a reflection of a woman who has healed through heartbreak, grown through solitude, and turned her home into her sanctuary. In 2025, Meagan Good's lifestyle isn't about flaunting status. It's about holding space for joy, creativity, and alignment. Her home isn't just where she lives, it's where she becomes. Meagan Good's car collection in 2025 is the perfect mirror of her aesthetic. Effortlessly cool, purposefully curated, and always fly without trying too hard. You won't find a dozen supercars or paparazzi bait parked in her driveway. Instead, every ride in her garage reflects elegance, function, and a little edge. First up is her everyday go-to, a matte black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, tricked out with plush cream leather interiors, custom rose gold trim, and blackout windows for privacy. It's bold, sleek, and feminine, a vibe she often describes as militant chic. You'll catch her in it cruising through Laurel Canyon, often playing a Sade playlist or listening to a motivational podcast. Then there's the pearl white Range Rover Sport, her preferred ride for airport runs, studio shoots, and weekend escapes. It's fully loaded with massage seats, ambient lighting, and her signature scent infused into the cabin, soft jasmine and bergamot. The plates? Good vibes, but Meagan also has a nostalgic side, and it shows in her restored 1966 cherry red Ford Mustang convertible, a gift she gave herself after wrapping a directing project in 2024. With its original chrome accents and smooth purr, it's more than a car, it's a celebration. She takes it out on Sundays, top down, curls flying, and always with a bold red lip to match. Although she's not known to flaunt designer labels, she does own a tasteful collection of high-end timepieces, bags, and accessories. Her favorites include a Chanel classic flap in caramel suede, a Cartier Panthère watch, and a pair of Tom Ford aviators that seem to travel with her everywhere. As for air travel, while Meagan doesn't own a private jet, she's often spotted on luxury charters, especially for work trips between LA, Atlanta, and New York. When she flies, she does so in comfort. Oversized sweats, a silk scarf, AirPods in, and a script or novel tucked into her Telfar tote. Quiet luxury, always in motion, but never trying to be seen. And true to her wellness-forward lifestyle, she recently invested in a custom electric Porsche Taycan, proving that you can ride clean, stay conscious, and still make a statement. For Meagan, luxury isn't loud, it's intentional. Her cars, her assets, her choices, they all whisper what she lives out loud. Grace, growth, and grown woman glam. In 2025, Meagan Good's voice isn't just artistic, it's activist. She's not always loud, but she's always clear. And when she speaks, it's with the conviction of a woman who has lived, learned, and chosen to lead by example. Over the years, Meagan has become an outspoken advocate for women's empowerment, racial equity, and faith-centered identity, often blending her spirituality with social justice. She's especially vocal about how Black women are portrayed and paid in Hollywood, calling for more nuanced stories, more seats at the table, and more power behind the camera. In the wake of her divorce in 2022, she emerged as a public figure reclaiming her voice, often speaking about self-worth, healing, and the strength found in vulnerability. Her openness inspired a wave of conversations around modern womanhood, emotional intelligence, and spiritual independence, particularly in faith-based spaces where such topics were often taboo. She's supported organizations that advocate for reproductive justice, domestic violence awareness, and access to mental health resources for women of color. And during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, she marched, donated, and used her platform to amplify lesser-heard voices, not just for the moment, but for the movement. Meagan also lends her voice to voting rights, particularly encouraging young women of color to get involved in local politics and community building. She said, "It's not just about the White House, it's about what's happening on your street." Her politics are not partisan, they're personal. They reflect a woman who moves with empathy, but doesn't fear truth. A woman of faith, not silence. A public figure who understands that impact isn't about being popular, it's about being purposeful. At the core of Meagan Good's 2025 lifestyle is a sacred balance: faith, femininity, and fierce self-awareness. While her career continues to flourish, her real power radiates from within, from the quiet choices she makes when no one is watching. Her days begin with stillness. Whether at home or on the road, Meagan starts each morning with a ritual of prayer, journaling, and light movement. She lights a candle, pulls a daily scripture, and writes affirmations in her leather-bound notebook, always beginning with, "I am." It's not a performance. It's how she stays centered in a world that demands too much, too fast. Meagan is deeply grounded in Christian faith, but she approaches spirituality as a living, breathing journey, not a rule book. She openly talks about her relationship with God evolving over time. In her words, it's not about religion, it's about relationship. With God, with self, with purpose. Wellness, for her, is also about honoring the body without punishing it. She follows a flexitarian diet, mostly plant-based with occasional seafood, and swears by hydration, herbal teas, and weekly detox baths. She's traded hours in the gym for yoga, Pilates, and long hikes, embracing movement that feels restorative, not restrictive. She's also a vocal advocate for mental health and therapy, particularly for Black women. In past interviews, she's spoken about her own healing journey post-divorce, and how therapy taught her to unlearn survival mode and choose softness. Meagan believes that beauty and strength can coexist with softness and surrender. Her philosophy? You don't have to be hard to be powerful. You just have to be real. In 2025, Meagan Good is not just taking care of her body, she's tending to her soul. In 2025, Meagan Good's personal life is defined by healing, intimacy, and alignment. It's not curated for the cameras. It's lived in quiet rooms, deep conversations, and laughter shared with those who truly know her. After her highly publicized divorce from producer and pastor Devon Franklin in 2022, Meagan entered a new season, not of reinvention, but of returning to herself. She called the chapter bittersweet but beautiful, acknowledging the love that was shared while embracing the transformation that followed. Rather than retreating, she leaned into her healing journey through therapy, prayer, self-love, and deep reflection. In this next chapter of her life, Meagan has chosen privacy with purpose. While rumors have swirled about a new romance, possibly with a fellow creative or someone outside the industry, she's kept details close to her heart. What she shares publicly is simple, I am loved, I am whole, I am grateful. Her inner circle remains tight and rooted in trust. Her family continues to be her anchor, especially her older sister, Meagan Good, with whom she shares an unbreakable bond. The two are often spotted working together on projects, mentoring young women, or enjoying sister-only spa days. Meagan also plays the loving auntie role with pride, doting on Meagan's children and making time for family dinners no matter how packed her schedule is. She's never had children of her own, yet, but she's spoken openly about still holding space for that possibility. In the meantime, she pours her maternal energy into mentorship, godchildren, and what she calls her community of little queens. Whether it's braiding hair, encouraging dreams, or showing up at dance recitals, Meagan Good shows love by being present. Friendship is sacred in her world. Her home regularly hosts quiet girl nights, prayer, laughter, good food, and deep talks. There's no performative energy here, just real connection. Her tribe includes fellow actresses, creatives, and spiritual seekers, women who have been through fire and came out glowing. In 2025, Meagan's personal life is a reflection of her values: grace over gossip, intimacy over image, and truth over trend. She's not chasing the fairy tale. She's living a grounded, joyful, and spiritually aligned reality. And for her, that's the real happy ending. Meagan Good's talents extend far beyond the screen, and in 2025, she continues to surprise those who think they've seen it all. Beneath the beauty and fame lives a deeply creative, curious, and multidimensional artist. One of her quietest passions? Drawing and sketching. Meagan has been known to spend hours in her sunroom with a sketch pad and soft pencils, creating portraits, outfit concepts, and abstract pieces inspired by emotion and scripture. It's not about perfection, it's about peace. She says drawing keeps her connected to her inner child and provides an outlet when words fall short. She's also a gifted voice actress, something most fans don't know. Her ability to shift tone and channel subtle emotion has made her a favorite for animation and audio dramas. In fact, she's voiced several characters in independent series and is rumored to be working on a faith-based animated project of her own. Meagan also writes spoken word poetry, blending biblical verses, heartbreak, and hope into lyrical prose. She's shared snippets during live events and women's retreats, often leaving audiences in tears with her vulnerable, soul-stirring delivery. And then there's her love for martial arts. A longtime student of Muay Thai and kickboxing, Meagan trains not for competition, but for discipline and strength. It's part of her holistic approach to wellness, equal parts mind, body, and spirit. She's also passionate about natural hair advocacy, often sharing her own hair journey and empowering Black women to embrace their texture, no matter the industry standard. In 2025, Meagan Good continues to reveal layers that feel personal, powerful, and beautifully unexpected. For all her grace and glow, Meagan Good hasn't walked a frictionless path. Like any woman in the spotlight for over 2 decades, she's faced her share of public scrutiny, personal heartbreak, and misunderstood moments. The most defining and most discussed was her divorce from Devon Franklin in 2022. After nearly a decade of marriage, the announcement stunned fans who had come to admire them as a power couple, built on faith, purpose, and public unity. But behind the Instagram posts and best-selling books, their story, like so many, evolved. Meagan handled the split with quiet dignity, sharing little with the press beyond gratitude for the time they shared and a desire for continued peace. While tabloids speculated and critics picked sides, she chose self-reflection over spectacle. "Sometimes growth hurts," she said in an interview, "but it also heals." Before and beyond the divorce, Meagan faced years of unfair industry critique. Too sexy for faith-based spaces. Too spiritual for mainstream Hollywood. Too Black. Not Black enough. She navigated it all with poise, refusing to shrink for anyone's comfort. Her fashion choices were often dissected through a moral lens, especially during her marriage, forcing her to repeatedly affirm her right to be both holy and fly. There were also career lulls, periods where roles were scarce and projects didn't match her talent. But she never lashed out. She learned. She created. She waited. And when the moment was right, she reemerged stronger, more intentional, and completely in command of her narrative. In an industry that can be ruthless to women who age, evolve, or speak up, Meagan has survived by staying rooted, real, and resilient. Her setbacks didn't define her, they refined her. And in 2025, she stands not as someone untouched by pain, but as a woman who made peace with her scars and turned them into light. Meagan Good's legacy is not built on controversy or conquest. It's built on consistency, character, and quiet revolution. From child star to leading lady, from faith-forward icon to director and mentor, Meagan's career arc has been one of graceful resistance. She never sold scandal for relevance. She didn't chase virality or sensationalism. Instead, she chose to grow, evolve, and glow on her own terms. For a generation of Black girls, she was the first crush, the big screen best friend, the cool cousin you wanted to grow up to be. For many, she was the first time they saw their skin tones celebrated, their beauty reflected, their voice represented. Her presence in teen films, music videos, and sitcoms throughout the 2000s carved out space for a specific kind of unapologetic, fly Black girl energy that remains influential today. But Meagan's impact is deeper than fashion trends or filmography. She represents the bridge between faith and freedom, a woman who has consistently reminded the world that spirituality doesn't cancel out sensuality. That intelligence and softness can share the same sentence. That modesty and power can coexist. She's also become a symbol of emotional transparency and womanhood. Her vulnerability around heartbreak, healing, therapy, and purpose has created space for others to process their own journeys. She's a muse not just for red carpet designers, but for women trying to hold it all together with dignity and grace. In 2025, her influence spans more than the screen. Young filmmakers cite her as a reason they believe they can direct. Young women point to her when discussing beauty without compromise. Pastors and poets alike reference her when speaking on modern femininity and faith. She is, in many ways, a cultural anchor, someone whose career has quietly shaped the way Black women are seen, celebrated, and written into storylines. Her fashion choices, public words, and character arcs have all contributed to a tapestry of representation that's real, nuanced, and necessary. Meagan Good may not have screamed her legacy into the world, but she built it anyway, and it stands. In 2025, Meagan Good lives life like a prayer answered softly, rooted, radiant, and fully reclaimed. She has walked through fire and come out shining, not because she was untouched, but because she chose healing over hiding. Through decades in front of the camera, she became something rarer than a star, a constant, a presence, a light. Her lifestyle today reflects a woman who has learned the art of alignment. A beautiful home filled with intention. A career led by purpose, not pressure. A circle that's deep, not wide. A rhythm that's spiritual, not performative. She may not shout her wins, but they speak volumes. In her glow, in her work, in the women she empowers simply by existing in her truth. Meagan Good didn't wait for the world to give her permission. She gave it to herself. And in doing so, she left behind more than a legacy. She opened doors. For girls with dreams. For women rediscovering their voice. For anyone who believes that grace can be fierce and softness can be revolutionary.